You can make a difference. You can give hope to a child. You can change a life. And that is no small change.
I have no idea. It was a long time ago.
Yeah? You think it's hard or it's easy?
Hard.
Welcome to another episode of One-on-One. My name is David Staal.
And I'm Chris Reinsma, and today we're going to be talking about an important question, Dave. The question is, what is it like for kids today growing up? Because it's very different than it used to be years ago. So you've been doing some research lately and got some really neat statistics to share about what is it like to grow up today in today's world.
And it all depends on where you're growing up. Chris, where would you say the people grew up who sent you that mug?
You know, the people that sent me this mug could be from any one of 31 different states, right? Because that Kids Hope is in 31 different states. And what I'd really like is for there to be a state name on here. So it could be Kansas, it could be California, it could be Texas. So for the next show, I want somebody in a state other than South Dakota to send me a mug so we can feature it on the show next time.
And of course, I still represent Starbucks coffee. It's in 50 states, Chris. So I'll keep the mugs coming on my side. You get the mugs going on your side.
That's good.
But I tell you what, let's get into some of the statistics that I was able to pull out when I looked into this question of what are kids like today. Now, the research is amazing, Chris, because first of all, there was a national study done by Hofstra University that said that 100% of kids are called hurtful names by other kids at school. So 100% seems like nearly all of them.
I would agree. Absolutely.
That's a very real issue, just like 18% right now, according to the Department of Justice. 18% of kids report being bullied. So it's pretty tough to be a kid today. And what I did is I looked into this deeper, Chris, is I said, okay, let's take a 13-year-old. Today's 13-year-old, what are they like? Because they've gone through all the years that we reach kids in at Kids Hope. And so 13 is sort of the top end. They've left our program. What are kids like who are 13 years old? Here's what I found out. 30% of them won't graduate from high school.
Wow.
Is that amazing? 29% live in a home without a father, 4% live in a home without a mom, and 2% live in a home with neither a mom or a dad. 18% are victims of reported abuse. And that's just reported abuse. There's so much more that goes on. 17% live in poverty, and we know that's always rising. 9% have ADHD, and 2/3 of those kids don't get any treatment at all. 52% admit to not attending church. And here's the important thing, Chris, why I picked 13, is because George Barna did this big research project, and he's a Christian researcher, as you know it. He did a big research project that concluded that what you believe when you're 13 years old is typically what you're going to believe the rest of your life. So imagine what all those kids, from all those statistics that I named off, imagine what they believe to be true about life, what life has been like for them for the first 13 years that they've been here.
Dave, it sounds to me like on all those statistics, there were a lot of things there that talked about missing pieces, if you will, in kids' lives. So because there are all these missing pieces, and a lot of it revolved around people that maybe weren't in their lives, how are kids actually spending their time? What are they doing sort of in this vacuum that they're living in?
Sure, because they're still awake, they're still living, they're still doing something, and aside from going to school, here's the amazing part. Elementary kids, elementary-age students, were shown to spend about 78 minutes a night on homework, which honestly, I was shocked that it was that high. It wasn't that high when I was in school, I promise you.
Right,
At least not in my house.
And I would like my kids to be spending that much time doing homework every night.
But 78 minutes. Now, that's only 78 minutes. Same studies show that with 8, 9, and 10-year-olds today, get ready for this, they spend on average 7 to 8 hours a day engaged with media.
Oh my.
Media being television, computers, video games, texting, their MP3 players, all of those devices, they are engaging with them for 7 to 8 hours a day.
So pretty much it sounds like when they get home from school, they're almost immediately going into some form of electronic stimulation with media. I mean, almost the minute they get home.
Yeah, and for nearly the entire time, or the entire time until they go to bed. Probably take a break to eat, but I imagine there's media going on during the eating time and all that. And yeah, it's an amazing statistic to think that 7 to 8 hours a day is being spent with media. But Chris, why don't you spend a few moments then and let's talk about what does that mean then for today's kids as we interact with them through the Kids Hope USA program?
That's a great question, Dave. I think there's some strong research that shows that kids, because they're spending so much time with media, they've really, in some respects, lost some of their social emotional skills. They don't have the role modeling, the proper role modeling that they maybe traditionally have had from parents and other caregivers. And so they're not really skilled necessarily at relationships the way that they used to be, because they don't have as many role models. And so when we have a Kids Hope USA mentor coming into their life, what could be happening is that, number one, I think it could be a really novel experience for a student. This is something really different for them that they haven't experienced before. An adult that's really taking a full hour and giving you their full attention, that is something really novel for them. And generally that's going to produce one of two reactions. And I think there's a middle ground too, but one reaction would be that a kid just absolutely can't believe it, and they soak it up like a sponge. They're just so excited, and we see that time and time again, don't we? We have stories coming into the office all the time about, after a first meeting, how this kid just responds to the mentor and just can't wait for them to come back. The second response that's pretty common is that these kids are kind of standoffish, and they're really closed. They're really not used to somebody being relational with them, spending time with them, asking them questions, listening to them. And so it's really an experience where they are having something new going on in their lives. And it's a lot, in some ways, like a counseling relationship, though I know we're not counselors as mentors, but it's kind of a restorative emotional experience for them. It's something new, it's something novel, and it's going to take them a little time to learn how to negotiate this new style of relationship, which eventually I think they will. I think they're going to warm up, they're going to really enjoy and want to be a part of it. But initially they may be kind of cool to this mentor in their life because they're just really not used to that type of a relationship.
Well, you know, you said something a couple times, Chris, that let's just reiterate that. You said a new type of relationship, and that this is new. Because when a child is facing all of these challenges, like those statistics showed, when they're facing a life full of challenge, but their interaction is in this sort of passive mode with media, all of a sudden there isn't that relationship going on in their life where they can process things that are going on. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Well, let's just take a look at some of those statistics you were talking about. Single parenthood, for instance. So many kids are growing up in single parent homes, and mom or dad is working really, really hard. And at the end of the day, when they come home, there just isn't a lot of energy left. And so the easiest thing maybe for mom or dad to do would be to click on the TV, to put on a video, to do something that way to entertain the kids rather than engage and interact with them. And you know what, Dave? At the end of the day, when I come home from work, I'm tired too. And sometimes I don't feel like engaging with my kids. But I've got my wife there, and we can kind of substitute for one another. But in a single parent home, just imagine that for a minute, that you don't have that other person that you can go to. And so I think that these parents are trying really hard, but maybe they're not giving their kids that individual time, that relationship time, to learn some of these emotional skills, and to learn how to talk about feelings or talk about important things in their life, their goals. They're not having those conversations. And so coming into this relationship with a mentor, maybe for the first time, they're starting to have those kind of conversations and think about those things with somebody that they're learning to trust. And that is a really wholly new thing for them.
Yeah, and imagine for a moment that the child you're meeting with, that his paradigm, his way of dealing with conflict is what he learned from playing the new Call of Duty Black Ops video game that just came out. I mean, imagine if that's all that's going in, then how's he going to relate? And so, it causes a bunch of challenge, but it also brings up opportunity for our mentors, right?
Exactly right. And that role modeling piece becomes a critical part of what our mentoring is about, is that we're probably role modeling maybe something new for the kids, or maybe a different way to handle situations. I was with Dr. Roger Sellen the other day, and he was telling me about some kids that he had observed on the playground who were replaying these scenes from these really violent video games at an elementary school that he was at. And he was really kind of shocked at the level at which they were repeating these experiences. But clearly, when they talked about anger and frustration, their solution went right back to this video game, that I'm just going to hurt somebody if I feel that way. And they weren't talking about different ways to solve problems, which is part of what I think the mentoring can really help these kids to learn how to do, to handle things, life situations differently than what they see on those video games and television, which aren't real.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Speaking of games.
Games. Dave, it's time to play our favorite game, okay, which is we're going to spin the tumbler here, and when we do, one of these little round objects is going to fall out, and it's going to have a number on it, and that's going to be the winner of our contest. And Dave, what does the winner of this contest get from us?
The winner gets a $100 gift certificate from Kids Hope USA for your program to purchase some Kids Hope USA logo wear. You can buy shirts, you can buy a jacket, you can buy coffee mugs, you can buy whatever you want with it. It's your $100 to spend. But the catch on it is that if we pull the name of your program out, you have to contact us by the end of the day, 5 o'clock on December 13th, which is one business day after this show airs. So by 5 p.m. Eastern Time on December 13th, give us a call and we will make sure we send you that gift certificate. So Chris, without further ado, let's pull out a name.
Okay, I'm going to spin the tumbler, Dave. All right, let's see what we got here. Wait,
Okay.
One's coming out.
Yeah, this
Okay.
one was not a good one. Okay, here we go. The number is 545. 545, Chris.
Okay, 545. Number 545 is Hope Evangelical Free Church from Roscoe, Illinois, and the director there is Melissa. Dave, she just trained this summer, so isn't that pretty amazing that she's already getting the benefits of this Kids Hope USA affiliation? She's won that $100.
Melissa, congratulations. You already have accumulated some national acclaim here at Kids Hope USA, but only if you contact us by 5 p.m. Eastern Time on December the 13th. So Melissa, we look forward to hearing from you. If you know Melissa, give her a call, send her an email, tell her to watch this show, and she'll understand why she needs to give us a call.
Dave, let's finish up today by consulting our experts today again about that question about what is it like to be a kid today. I want to start with a quote from Dr. Brad Schwal, and this is what Dr. Brad says. Life for children today is fast-paced, stressful, demanding, and confusing, but caring adults can give stability and hope. I think that's a pretty fair representation of both the challenges that kids face, but also some of the resources they have, especially in their mentors.
Absolutely, absolutely. And our other expert, Dr. Roger Sellen, said this: kids today are exciting, hopeful, energetic, scared, and wonder sometimes who really cares. And that's the great part about Kids Hope USA, is that you answer that question, who really cares about me, every time that you get together with your child and every time that you pray for the child that you're a prayer partner for. So, Chris, we know that the question of who really cares is answered by prayer partners and mentors, and we also know that when you care about somebody, you will change their life. And Chris, when you change a life,
That's no small change.
I think the camera's off, don't worry.
Okay. So, do you think that they noticed the stunt doubles?
You know, you do look a lot like Chris.
I'm telling you, Jeff, you look a lot like Dave, too.
I know. You know, it's the makeup thing. We got the shirts and all that. But
Yeah.
you know what? Are those guys back from vacation yet?
I don't know. We should go find Chris and Dave and see what they're doing.
Yeah, because I hear they don't do a lot.
Who knows?
All right, let's go.